Yeah. Hi, I apologise first of all for the mess with my hair. It's not okay with me today. Thankfully I won't have to be out anywhere. Just broadcast all over the internet my whatever it's done with itself, I don't even know. Don't even know what these bits are, curly bits, and I have no idea. Not agree with me today at all. Anyway, this is part 2 of my book haul. I think one of these books I mentioned in the last one, I can't remember. Doesn't really matter, does it? Anyway, I have 14 books to go through, I think. 13, 14, I'm not sure. Let's get started before I get to like 10 minutes long and haven't done anything, because I know what I'm like, I will start rambling. Right, first of all, I'm going to start with The Queen of Silks by Vanora Bennett. Bennett, even. Yeah. As you can see, I'm currently reading this book. I'm good like halfway through. It's historical fiction, a richly textured historical novel. You can see there with the times, just there. Also in hardback, it was published as Figures in Silk, so I think the hardback version got a different name. It's the same book. It's set in the year 1471, and the blurb says, the year 1471 marks a crucial turning point in the Wars of Roses as Edward IV wins the throne. But among England's turmoil, two young sisters, Jane and Isabel Lambert, are more concerned with finding good and loving husbands. Their father, a silk trader, believes that a good marriage must establish adventurous business links, and so the thoughts of love must be put aside. The girls will be bound by marriage to the court of Edward IV, and their father's trade will flourish. But when Jane sets eyes on Edward, so begins a notorious liaison between king and commoner, and his sister Isabel becomes privy to the court's most intimate and most scandalous secrets told in ghoulish whispers of the dark night. It's pretty good so far, because I love historical fiction, but anything historical, just fiction, non-fiction. I think this is partly fiction, obviously the era it's set in is really happened, but these people aren't real. The fiction characters, I think. I'm not really sure, but it's really, really good. It's quite it's what I thought was going to be really confusing, but it's not. It makes a lot of sense. So that's Queen of Silk by Vanora Bennett. Now, I've never actually read the book of this. I've seen dozens of different films, but I've never read the book. So when I found it in my garage, I think it must be my mum's or something, I decided I had to read it. Which is High Deep by Joanna Spyri. Is it Spyri? Spyri? I'm not sure how you say it. It's a story about the little girl that was sent to Swiss Alps to live with her armuncle. Is it armuncle? Yeah. Then she ends up in Frankfurt in Germany. To that, is it private school? I can't remember. It's been ages since I've even seen films of this, but seems like a good read, and I will probably let you know what I think. Now this is Jane Austen's Mansfield Park and North Ranger Abbey. Again, I've seen films of both of these, but I've never sat down to read the book, so why not give it a try? I don't even know when they're set-ish, I'm not really sure. It doesn't say on the back, it just tells me that it was the first one, or the second one, whatever. Despite all that writing on the back, tells me nothing about the books. I don't know, I think it's the... I don't know, it doesn't tell me. No, it's not going to tell me when it was. Tell me when she was born, that's very helpful. But anyway, it's Mansfield Park and North Ranger Abbey, which I will review once I've read. It looks really, really thick, quite intimidating. Although, to be fair, most of it's Mansfield Park, I think. Yeah, that is all Mansfield Park. That bit. This bit here. All Mansfield Park. And then, this is the amazing bit. Look how many blank pages there is. There's just... What is the need for that? Why couldn't they have just published a book on it? What is the point of all that? You can see that bit there is this bit here is North Ranger Abbey. But there's like 5 blank pages. That is so annoying. Actually, gotta move on. I've done 3 books in them on 4 minutes. Did that go off? Then if it went off there, it's my screen went off. I don't know if it went off or not. This is called Don't Ever Tell by Kathy O'Beeran. What should I say her name? It's a devastating account of a stolen childhood. Basically, it's a true story of neglect. I think it's the author's story of her childhood, which will probably end up making me cry. Again, this was quite a bargain actually. It was in a charity shop, 3 for 2. So if it turns out to be rubbish, or if it turns out like I can't really get into it, then I can safely say it was free. Now this book, I have never been more excited to read a book in my life. I saw the film of this book without knowing it was a book first. I only found out it was a book after I'd watched the film and I was talking to my friend about it, and she said, "Oh, did you know that was a book?" I was like, "No." Anyway, it's One Day by David Nichols. Oh, I've never been so excited to read this book in my life. I just can't wait to read this book. I'm just, oh, yeah. So it doesn't seem that big actually. It's not like a huge, big, long book, but hopefully this is going to be an amazing book. We'll have to do a review on this book. Probably a big 10-minute long vlog of me crying my eyes out. I know what I'm like. Now, I've never read the book again, which is quite embarrassing, but I've seen so many film adaptations of it, this book is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte? Yeah, I always get the Brontes mixed up. So I know the storyline, I've just never actually sat down to read the book, so it could be interesting. I love this picture as well, it's amazing. It's kind of a creepy picture, sort of makes it look like a witch, doesn't it, kind of. Anyway, it's that book. Now this is The Water Babies by Charles Kingsley. Again, I've seen the film and never read the book. I should probably stop watching films if they've been made in books before I've read the book. It's not funny because I kind of know what happens, but hopefully it'll make more sense. Anyway, but this is the amazing book. I love the illustrations in this book if I can find one. Where is it? There we go. They're just so beautifully done, and it's. You see there? Yeah. I just think they're beautiful. They're just amazing. There's quite a few of them, but there's all different ones of different scenes in the book, I'm assuming. And I just love the way they're done so beautifully, and I think that's my main reason for buying this version of it. There was another version of it, but I found this version of this book and just knew I had to get this version of it. Oh, now this book, I have read this book and it made me laugh so much. It's absolutely amazing. It's Harry Hill's A Flight to Death Row. When Harry's offered a gig in a gonk factory in Leeds, he leaps at the chance. It's a perfect opportunity to get away from his flatmate Prince Edward and the 20 pygmies renting space in his sock drawer. Little does Harry realise that this decision will lead him on to a fantastical journey into a world where nothing is quite what it seems. It's so funny. I've never laughed so much. It also says that Harry Hill's debut novel is a brilliant adventure through a surreal world where pigs might not fly, but they can get their own newspaper column and reality TV show. It's absolutely hilarious. Oh, it's so funny. I'd definitely say read it. I think I did a review on my Tumblr account. I'm sure I did. But it makes absolutely no sense at all, but it's really easy to follow and it's just hilarious. I love Harry Hill and I got this for Christmas I think, but it's so funny. I love it. This book is a book I've been wanting for quite a while now. I'm not exactly sure why I want it. It's a huge, big, thick thing. You can see. Yeah. It's called The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. Now, I honestly don't know why I wanted this book, but I was supposed to be reading it for English, but they changed it to The Woman in Black. So maybe that's what made me want it. I maybe wanted to know why they'd picked The Woman in Black over this book. I don't know if you can see it, but I love this illustration on it. I don't know if it'll show on the camera. The thing here There's all the people. There's a couple of people stood there. It's like an old-fashioned London scene. It just looks, to me, it looks really pretty. And if it's gone off again, I apologise. My computer only has like 5 minutes before it goes off to black screen. So many people have read Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell, and I'm going to sound stupid here, but I thought he was a comedian. Well, he really is a comedian, but I didn't realise he was an author as well. I think it's a different David Mitchell though. So, hoping that this book is going to be an interesting read. Again, it's quite thick. I have a thing for buying thick books, I think. God, I'm on like 11 minutes and I have 4 more books to do. Should hurry up and do this. This is, as you can see, is £1.69 in charity shop. I love ghosts and ghost stories, whether they're real ghost stories or just fiction. And this has a collection of different ghost stories which are claimed to be true. Real people have actually reported these stories, and so they are presumed to be true. Whether they all are true, I don't know. I think it said at the beginning of the book some of them might not be, some of them are. But I'll be reading this before I go to bed and having nightmares, no doubt. Now this is by Philippa Gregory, The Boleyn Inheritance. Now I read The Other Boleyn Girl and really loved that book, also by Philippa Gregory, and despite the fact that I absolutely love the Tudors and just everything about them is just amazing. I don't know what it is about the Tudor era, but I just love it. So I could not resist buying this book. I'm so excited to read it. Hopefully it'll be a good read. It's not the biggest book I've ever read, but now this book was given to me by a friend. It's Room by Emma Donoghue. Is it Donoghue? Is it G silent? I don't know. She said she got it in World Book Night. I don't know if that's true. She found it on a train and gave it to me because she doesn't really read that much. But it's hardback version. And I have no idea what it's about. I just got it this morning, which I think was yesterday morning. She gave it to me. A bit random. But, so, I've never even heard of it before she gave it to me, so I have no idea what to expect. So, let's see what it's like, eh? Now this, I am also excited to read this. It's by my favourite author, or at least one of my favourite authors, and it's Susan Hill's A Kind Man. I actually bought this myself yesterday. I was going in to buy another Susan Hill book. Couldn't find that book. It was called A Small Hand. I got it from the library a while ago and never got a chance to read it before I had to take it back. So, and it's in Waterstones, I thought I might as well have a look for it. Found this book instead. And, yeah. Quite excited to read this book as well. I would go into big explanations about it, but I'll be here till like 39 minutes. Never mind just 14 like I'm doing on now. So there you go, that's 14 books in 13 minutes and 27 seconds.